Hey everyone, I'm back again. I'm going to do a really quick review of a foundation that I picked up at the drugstore a couple months ago, and I've been testing it out here and there. But yeah, I want to just do a really quick review because it's not a foundation that I'm a super big fan of, so I don't have a ton of things to say about it, but I thought it'd be nice to compare it to a similar one. So the foundation is the Maybelline Dream Wonder Fluid Foundation. And I believe this came out in the fall sometime. It might have come out earlier than that, but I'm going to compare it with the L'Oreal Magic Nude Liquid Powder, which is in this glass purple bottle. And they're both very, very similar. I feel like there's a trend in foundations, especially in 2014, where you kind of have this like skin foundation where they're a lot more liquidy. You usually have to shake it to kind of mix the pigment with the liquid solution that's in there. I know Kevin Aucoin has one, Laura Mercier just came out with one, and these seem to be like the drugstore versions of those. So you can hear it's very, very, very liquidy. Same thing with this one, very liquidy. You have to shake it very well to get all the pigments nicely mixed and blended before you apply it with your apply it to your face. And now for these type of foundations, they do say to apply it with your fingers or maybe like a flat foundation brush, kind of like I'll show you the ones I have that I use. The e.l.f. has a professional foundation brush. That's this is the $1 ones. This one's okay. You definitely need it. Kind of makes your foundation a little streaky, but if you pat it over with your hands, it kind of blends out really well. And then the Real Techniques foundation brush, which is also very thin. Right off the bat, I liked the packaging of the Maybelline one a lot better because it's a lot cleaner, and you can already tell by this one, the L'Oreal one, just how messy it gets. And I know you've probably heard horror stories of people who have spilled this on their carpet while they were trying to apply it. It just comes out like this. There's no pump, there's really nothing. You just pretty much shake it and then you pour it into your finger, or you just shake it, dab, and then dab all over your face, shake it again, dab all over your face, which is what I like to do. I'm just way too nervous to apply it, just to pour it straight onto my palm. I just think that's asking for a disaster. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I just like to dab onto my face. The Maybelline one is a bit different because it kind of comes with this dropper. It's not really a spout where it actually, you know, suctions up the foundation. It's just, this is all it is, and then you just kind of dab it onto your back of your palm. But you can already tell that this is going to be a lot easier to use. So I like that better. I think the packaging of the Maybelline one is a lot better. They both kind of suck, honestly. I feel like they could have just given us a dropper, or I don't know, like a pump or something, but it's fine. So the packaging, Maybelline wins. For the amount and the price, the L'Oreal is a little bit more expensive, but it does come with a little bit more. So the L'Oreal comes with 0.91 fluid ounces, and it's about $11 at Target. And the Maybelline comes with 0.67, and it retails for $8.99. So they're pretty much around the same price, but the L'Oreal, you do get a little bit more. That being said, I feel like you use more of the L'Oreal to get the same amount of coverage. The difference in consistency is that the L'Oreal one is really, really, really liquidy and very sheer. Maybelline one is a little bit creamier, a little bit thicker, so I feel like if I was trying to go for the same amount of coverage, I would have to use this one a little bit more just because it is a thinner formula. The L'Oreal one has an SPF of 18 and the Maybelline one has an SPF of 20, so the Maybelline one is a little bit higher, which is what I appreciate. I like high SPF in my foundations. That's why I tend to go for BB creams or CC creams, because they usually have a 30 or 40 SPF. But if you don't like SPF in your foundation and you want something light, then maybe the L'Oreal one is a little bit better for you. Now I'm going to talk about the finish. So the reason why I'm not a big fan of both of these foundations is because I have normal to dry skin. So I have a lot of dry patches. I have blemishes that break the skin, so around the blemish is dry skin. So I feel like with these, they're supposed to be like skin. So they're very thin formula that you put onto your face and then it dries kind of powdery. It does accentuate a lot of the dry patches on your face. So if you have anything that's raised, broken skin, it's gonna kind of cling onto those parts. And so because of that, I don't really like it. But if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely go for the Maybelline one, just because I feel like it is creamier. It does last on my skin a little bit longer. The L'Oreal one, I feel like I can get a good 3 hours wear of this on my face and then when I look in the mirror after 3 hours, I feel like the coverage is not gone, but I feel like it starts to settle in my fine lines. And it also has this like lifted appearance. It kind of feels like the foundation hasn't really melded into my skin. And it's not blended very well. And then if I kind of touch my skin like this, then I can kind of see that foundation shift a little bit. So I just know that it's kind of been like, it's just sitting on top of my face. And I can definitely feel it after 3 hours. The L'Oreal one, I can feel that. And I feel like I need to blot and then touch up with powder. Now the Maybelline one, maybe because it is a bit more creamier, I get maybe 4 hours, 5 hours out of it. I feel like it doesn't settle into my lines as much. It does a little bit, but not as much. And I feel like I can go away with just doing blotting papers and then I'm good. I don't need to really touch up with powder. Now both of these, the coverage is pretty light, so I don't feel like the coverage wears out until about 5 hours for both of them probably, but that's kind of what I found. And when I use a primer with it, I can't use any of the silicone type primers like the Benefit Professional, because I feel like if I use those in the beginning, it's really nice. I feel like it's, you know, the foundation has kind of glided all over my pores really well. But again, after that 3 hour, 4 hour mark, it seems to get really messy. It starts to look really messy. It feels like the foundation is not sitting on my skin. That's kind of the main reasons why I don't really like these two in general. I have tried the Laura Mercier one. That one doesn't seem to do that. It seems to be very flawless and it looks nice. It doesn't cling to my dry patches. So I'm strictly talking about drugstore now, so that's why I'm kind of saying I don't really like the drugstore version of this type of skin foundation. But you know, maybe they'll come out with a different one. And I know Maybelline, I love their foundations normally, so you know, maybe they'll come up with a different one that works a little bit better. The color wise between the two, I find that the L'Oreal one is a little bit more yellow toned and the Maybelline one has a tiny bit more of a pink undertone. Now I have the lightest color of both of these, so the Maybelline one is the 15 Ivory and the L'Oreal Magic Nude is the 310 Light Ivory. So I can kind of show you a little bit more how those look like. And I just swatched a tiny bit onto the back of my hand so you can kind of see how it looks like. So this one is the L'Oreal one and this one is the Maybelline one. And I'm hoping that you can kind of see, and it has already dried completely. It's set into my skin and already you can kind of tell that it looks dry. Like it looks powdery for both of them. And so I just find that I'm not sure if I like it. And you can still blend it out, you know. But no, you know, I just feel like it will definitely settle into your lines. Maybe if you have really oily skin, it works a little better for you. But for me, I just found that it wasn't worth the money. I'd probably get my Revlon Whipped Foundation over any of these. I think the Revlon makes really great drugstore foundations too. So I'm not sure. The Maybelline Fit Me, I know is very, very watery as well, but it doesn't give this weird powdery look that this one does, and it doesn't seem to lift off of my face after a few hours. So that's it. I just wanted to do a really quick review of both of these. I know this video is kind of like a downer because I don't like either of them, but if I had to choose, and if you're really curious and you have normal to dry skin, and you know, a lot of people have been talking about this and you just really want to try it out, and you know, hopefully this review has been helpful for you to know that this one probably is going to work a little bit better compared to this one. Now, I still use this on days where I just don't want to, you know, I don't care too much about how I look. I'm not going to go crazy with the bronzer or the blush or anything like that. I will use this and put a little bit of foundation or concealer over it, especially for if I'm just going to like the grocery store or meeting friends for a few hours here and there. So I do reach for it, but it's definitely not a long-lasting one, and it's not a full coverage foundation. Oh, one thing I did want to mention is that this one is a little bit more buildable. I feel like if you put this one on and you wait about a minute, you can kind of put another layer on and it'll still look nice. This one, I feel like you have to wait a little bit longer. Even though it does dry faster, I feel like it gets oilier faster. So I do feel like I have to wait a good 2-3 minutes before I put another layer on, and then I definitely need to set with the powder for this one, and it just makes it worse because I feel like it dries powdery, but then I have to put powder over it because I know after a few hours my face is gonna feel really oily. So not a big fan of this one. I'm kind of on the fence about this one, leaning towards I probably wouldn't buy it again. So yeah, that's kind of my quick review. Let me know if you've tried either one of these and which one you liked better. It does seem like the consensus is that the Maybelline one is a little bit better from the different reviews I've watched and I've read, and I have to agree that it is a bit better. So, but let me know your thoughts. Let me know if it worked for you, especially if you have dry skin as well. Yeah, that's it for my little review. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it helpful. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.